Welcome to National Park Wild. I'm Eric, continuing today in 2020 National Park Recap. After an exhilarating and somewhat frightening trip to Yosemite, we headed north to Lassen Volcanic National Park. Before this trip, I had been to 7 of California's 9 parks. Lassen was one of the 2 I had not been to yet. I was pretty excited for this one because I like Yellowstone, and this park seemed to have a lot of the Yellowstone stuff like geysers and mountains and wildlife, so I thought it looked like a pretty cool place. And I had pretty high expectations, but this park didn't really meet them, honestly. It greatly surpassed them. This is a fantastic national park, and I'm going to explain my experience today. So my dad, brother, and I went to the park the day after July 4th. We weren't sure if a lot of people would be there because it was still July 4th weekend, but there were pretty much no people there. We first went to this trail that has some geothermal stuff called, kind of pardon my language here honestly, Bumpass Hell. It's similar to Yellowstone trails, but on the way you pass in front of this beautiful lake with Lassen Peak behind it, plenty of other mountains. We saw some deer in this little grassy area that's beneath the trail pretty far down. There's some rivers and creeks, and when you get to the actual geothermal area, there's tons of color and so many different hot springs and fumaroles. And it really is on the level of like a good Yellowstone place, like Midway Geyser Basin. So I really enjoyed this first hike. Really fantastic place, and honestly, it's one of my favorite hikes in the national park system. I really enjoyed seeing it, but it was not even the best trail in Lassen Volcanic. That was Lassen Peak. Lassen Peak is a hike to the summit of a dormant volcano. I don't believe it's extinct, but it erupted about a century ago, and it's pretty much the main reason the park was designated. So we start the hike. It's about 2.5 miles up to the top, and you pretty much start right in front of this giant lake called Lake Helen. It's really beautiful. Beautiful blue color, and I really thought it was cool to start there. I must say, it's not quite as strenuous as you might think. There's definitely steep parts, but it's not quite as steep an incline or grade as a couple of other hiking trails up mountains I've done before. So by the time we got to the top, it hadn't been that long. On the way up, we saw plenty of nice views. You can see other mountains, faraway lakes and national recreation areas, cinder cones in a different district of the park, rivers, lakes, tons of different stuff. And we also saw this little pika, really cute, kind of coming out of a hole, grabbing some grass. That was a nice wildlife sighting. There were also hawks and eagles and other birds all around the top. And when you get to the very top, there are butterflies and insects all over the place. Something I did not expect to see, honestly. But it was pretty fun. And I did like seeing all of the wildlife on the way up. And the view from the top on a clear day, like we went, is absolutely amazing. The mountains in this park are beautiful. You can't quite see the geothermal areas of Bumpass, but you can still see the trail. You can see Lake Helen and Manzanita Lake and tons of other lakes. The cinder cone areas from the eruption, and my favorite part, Mount Shasta, a massive peak in the Cascade Range, a bit north of Lassen Peak. You can see it on a clear day, and it's really awesome to see that. I really enjoy the view from the top, and Lassen Peak is probably a top 10 hike in the national park system. And I've been to 51 parks, so that's really saying something. The final hike we did was Manzanita Lake. You walk around this large lake where you can see Lassen Peak behind it. Very beautiful place. And when we went, there had been reports of river otters attacking people. So we were alert, and we ended up finding plenty of river otters swimming around, not attacking anyone. I enjoy wildlife sightings like that, and it was kind of fun. We saw plenty of deer around the lake, geese all over the place, really nice views. The trail's fairly quiet, and it was a really nice trail. We saw plenty of other wildlife in the park, and I must say overall, Lassen Volcanic is a top 20 park out of the 51. That might not sound amazing, but I think pretty much all of the parks are fantastic, so top 20 is quite an achievement. The hiking is some of the best in any park I've been to. The views are beautiful and very diverse, going from mountains and geysers to rivers and valleys. Really great place. The wildlife was quite abundant, especially compared to what we expected. There really is a lot to see here. So few people go, so it's never really that crowded. It's definitely one of the most underrated national parks. Definitely worth a visit, and actually one of my favorite parks in California, out of the 9 fantastic parks there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your thoughts on Lassen Volcanic. And I really hope you will like the video and subscribe, because the channel has been growing quite a bit lately. And I'll continue to do national park recaps. Next up is Redwood. I'll see you next time.